Key 1. Stoic. Over 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius stood as one of the most powerful figures in the world. As Emperor of Rome, he governed a vast empire, stretching across millions of square miles and affecting the lives of tens of millions of people. He commanded the mightiest army on earth and held the power to dictate life and death. With such immense responsibility, he could have easily given in to indulgence, escaped into luxury, or even succumbed to the overwhelming stress of leadership. Yet he didn't. In fact, he managed all this responsibility in a way that would leave many in awe. What was his secret? How did he carry the weight of the world and remain calm, focused, and uncorrupted by his power? Through his personal reflections, captured in his meditations, we get a glimpse into the daily life and mindset of this philosopher king. One of the most striking aspects of Marcus's routine was his disciplined approach to the morning. Unlike many of us who hit snooze or dive straight into our phones, Marcus Aurelius intentionally starts his day with a conscious choice. Even though he admits that getting up early wasn't natural to him, he forces himself to rise at dawn. He tells himself, "What was I created for? To stay under the warmth of my blankets or to engage with the world?" For Marcus, the morning wasn't about comfort, it was about action. It was the time he set aside for reflection, for philosophy, for grounding himself before the chaos of the day began. Rather than getting immediately distracted by tasks or demands, Marcus took time to center himself. In our modern world, many of us immediately dive into emails or social media as soon as we wake up, letting external noise dictate our mood and energy. But Marcus taught us a valuable lesson. Use the morning as a space to meditate, to reflect, and to prepare. He would review his goals, check in with his thoughts, and align himself with his greater purpose. This quiet moment before the world intruded was crucial to maintaining his inner strength. In his meditations, he acknowledges that the people he would interact with during the day would likely be ungrateful, arrogant, or even dishonest. Instead of letting this frustrate him, Marcus used this awareness as a tool for emotional preparedness. He expected difficulties, and he prepared himself to handle them with patience, understanding, and calm. This is a practice rooted in Stoic philosophy known as premeditation of adversity, where you mentally prepare for challenges in advance. By anticipating that things won't always go as planned, you're less likely to be rattled when they don't. Marcus's ability to focus on the task at hand was one of his most powerful skills. He never allowed his thoughts to wander aimlessly. He wasn't distracted by petty concerns or irrelevant matters. Whether making critical decisions, hearing cases, or leading armies, Marcus always concentrated on the immediate task, avoiding mental clutter. This ability to focus deeply on one thing at a time is something many modern thinkers, like Cal Newport, call deep work, and it's a core principle of Marcus's approach to life. Despite the constant barrage of responsibilities, Marcus never let it overwhelm him. He was aware of his limitations and knew when to delegate. He learned from his predecessor, Aurelius, how to value others' expertise and listen to feedback without taking offense. Marcus viewed criticism not as a threat, but as an opportunity to improve. In a world where ego often stands in the way of growth, Marcus's humility allowed him to learn from others and make better decisions. In sum, Marcus Aurelius's routine teaches us a lot about how to lead, how to manage stress, and how to cultivate a mindset of discipline and focus. His daily life was a careful balance of action, reflection, and unwavering commitment to his responsibilities. By starting each day with intention, preparing mentally for the challenges ahead, and practicing focused, deliberate work, Marcus created a foundation of resilience that allowed him to not only survive but thrive in one of the most demanding jobs in history. If we can embrace even a fraction of this mindset, through our mornings, our focus, and our approach to challenges, we can navigate the demands of our own lives with greater clarity and composure. Key 1. Stoic balance is crucial in life. We dedicate ourselves to our work, we push ourselves to meet deadlines, and sometimes we become so absorbed in the hustle that we forget to step back and breathe. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, reminds us in his meditations that life can't be all business, no matter how demanding our responsibilities might be. Even the most powerful leaders like Marcus knew the importance of retreating from the chaos and finding time for personal rejuvenation. Marcus himself wasn't consumed solely by the weight of his imperial duties. He valued physical exercise, enjoying activities like boxing, wrestling, horseback riding, and hunting. He took walks in nature, observing its quiet beauty, like the bending of grain under its weight or the foam on a boar's mouth. These moments were his spiritual retreat, offering him peace amidst the turmoil of empire. The Stoics believed that the world itself was a temple of the gods, and Marcus saw his connection with nature as a way to tap into something greater than himself. Yet, unlike many Romans of his time, Marcus was not enamored with the violence of the gladiatorial games. He disliked the brutality of the Colosseum and the cruelty of the crowds. Instead, when duty called him to be present at such events, his mind would often wander to higher pursuits. He'd lose himself in his philosophical studies, diving into works of great thinkers like Epictetus, Zeno, and Cleanthes. In those moments, the noise and violence of the arena didn't shake him. He found his calm within through his dedication to wisdom. Marcus believed that it wasn't necessary to physically escape in order to find peace. You can retreat inwardly, he said, to your own soul, regardless of the external chaos. Whether facing the overwhelming pressures of running an empire or sitting in a blood-stained arena, Marcus found solace in his thoughts, in his philosophical study, and in his connection to a deeper, more centered place within. His idea of retreat wasn't about leaving everything behind. It was about finding stillness wherever you were. This ability to find peace amidst chaos was essential for Marcus, especially given the weight of his reign. His leadership was marked by constant wars, devastating plagues, and numerous crises. Floods, invasions, and coups all threatening the stability of Rome. Yet, Marcus continued to carry the burden of responsibility, knowing that people were counting on him. Even when the stress was unbearable, when failure seemed imminent, Marcus believed that his job was to remain calm, centered, and emotionally controlled. One of his most profound lessons was how to handle adversity. When betrayed by his trusted general, Avidius Cassius, Marcus didn't react impulsively. He didn't let his personal feelings dictate his actions. Instead, he stepped back, choosing to respond with wisdom, grace, and patience. For Marcus, challenges weren't just obstacles, they were opportunities. They were opportunities to show virtue, to demonstrate how a nation can deal with civil strife with dignity and resilience. His philosophy was clear. The best revenge is to not be like your enemies, to not let yourself be corrupted by the negativity around you. Marcus didn't just believe in maintaining balance in mind. He also prioritized physical health. He understood that a strong body supported a strong mind. He made time for physical activities, for bathing, and for quiet reflection. These were his ways of washing off the grime of the world, so he could return to his duties with renewed focus and vigor. Even amidst the chaos, he took care of himself, physically and mentally. Beyond his personal hobbies and physical activities, Marcus was a dedicated student of philosophy. His commitment to reading and writing was unwavering, even during his reign as emperor. He would engage in deep philosophical conversations, particularly with his mentor, Cornelius Fronto, and his teacher, Rusticus. His writings, filled with references to the works of other philosophers, show just how diligent he was. He didn't read casually, he read to learn. He wasn't seeking entertainment or status, but growth. Every text he studied was a chance to get better, to refine his thinking and his character. For Marcus, reading was more than just an intellectual exercise. It was a way of life. He wasn't satisfied with just skimming the surface. He delved deep, making notes, reflecting on what he read, and applying those lessons to his own life. His discipline in learning shows us that excellence doesn't come from shortcuts or passive engagement. It's about dedication, focus, and an unrelenting commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. Through it all, Marcus Aurelius demonstrated that balance isn't just about finding time for relaxation. It's about the discipline to retreat inward, to take care of your body, to engage with your mind, and to handle life's pressures with calm and wisdom. He showed us that no matter how demanding life gets, we always have the power to respond with grace, dignity, and virtue. The key is to make time for the things that matter, the things that nourish our soul and keep us centered amidst the noise and challenges of life. Key 1. Stoic: imagine a life where every single day you hold yourself accountable for your actions, not for the sake of others' judgment, but as a powerful tool for personal growth. This is the essence of what the Stoics practiced. Seneca, the wise philosopher, spoke often about the importance of this ritual, reviewing the day at its end, taking a moment in the quiet of the night to assess what went right, what went wrong, and where improvement was needed. It wasn't about seeking external validation. It was about cultivating self-awareness and striving for continuous self-improvement. In a similar vein, Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, at the height of his power, also embraced this practice. His famous meditations were essentially a form of self-interrogation. At the end of each day, he would reflect on his actions, asking himself where he could have done better. In a world where he had no superior to hold him accountable, Marcus knew the importance of being his own guide. The judgment of history would come far later. He had to remind himself of his core values, those that existed beyond power and wealth. Surrounded by lavish feasts, grand titles, and the praises of his people, Marcus constantly reminded himself that these material possessions and accolades held no true value. He saw them for what they were: fleeting, hollow, transient. He warned himself against being seduced by illusions of grandeur, reminding himself to stay humble and true to his principles. It wasn't about detaching from the world, but refusing to let the world detach him from his integrity. Marcus practiced memento mori, the reminder that life is short and that death could come at any moment. Every night, he would ask himself, if today were my last, did I live it the way I want to? Did I make the most of it? This wasn't a morbid reflection. It was a wake-up call to truly appreciate the present, to savor the moments spent with loved ones, and to live life with intention. When he tucked his children into bed, he would remind himself they may not make it to the morning. It wasn't an obsession with death. It was a reminder to be fully present, to cherish life before it slips away. In today's world, we often find ourselves lost in the hustle and bustle of life. Success, busy schedules, and social recognition can easily inflate our egos. We might believe that we are the center of the universe, but Stoicism teaches us the opposite. We must zoom out, gain perspective, and view life through a broader lens. Just as Marcus saw his army as tiny ants from above, we too must learn humility and remember that our world is part of something far greater. At the end of his day, Marcus would reflect on his actions. He asked himself, what did I achieve today? Did I spend my time wisely? If I were to die tomorrow, would I have lived the life I wanted? This kind of reflection wasn't just about achieving material success. It was about evaluating how he spent his most precious resource, time. We too must create space in our lives for this kind of reflection. It doesn't have to be a grand ritual, but it should be a practice of assessing our actions and ensuring we are living in line with our highest values. The purpose isn't perfection, but progress, striving to improve, learning from our mistakes, and making the most of each day. By adopting these habits, we can cultivate a life that's more intentional, grounded, and aligned with our true purpose. It's not just about reflecting on what we've done, but on who we are becoming. Like Marcus Aurelius, we can develop the discipline to stay true to our principles regardless of external distractions and live a life of meaningful impact.